Okay, so hi everyone. So in this video we are going to be learning how to do exponent properties. Okay, this is really important for algebra. Okay, because you have to know what your exponent properties are. Like you have to know your properties of exponents to do the rest of algebra, basically, because they come up kind of everywhere at this point. So the first one that we have here is our product's property of exponents, okay? So, for example, if you have x to the y times x to the z, that's going to be x to the y plus z. So you add your two, your two exponents, okay? So, let's say that we have, let's just do an example. Let's just say that we have 2 cubed times 2 to the 4th. Well, that's the same as 2 to the 7th. Or let's just say that we have x to the negative 7 times x to the 8th. It's going to be x to the negative 7 plus 8. So that's going to be x to the 1, which is x, okay? So that's the first one. That's the first one that you look at, that we're looking at. The next one here says that if we have a variable to a certain power, then we subtract those powers. If we have a variable to a certain power and we're dividing it by the same variable to another power, we subtract those powers. So for example, if you have x to the 6 over x cubed, be careful, this is not x squared. Be very careful. It's x cubed, because x to the 6 minus 3 equals x cubed, okay? And if it helps to color code, I can color code. So like this is 6 and this is 3. So we can do like 6 minus and then 3, okay? And we get x cubed, okay? So that's the quotient property, excuse me. And you're going to use this a lot in when you're doing when we're going to be simplifying properties of exponents, okay? Like when we're going to be simplifying certain certain like expressions. This third one says that it's really called power of a power property. I know I put power property at first, but it's power of a power property. I think this one is too, just because, you know, you're kind of doing the same thing, except you're distributing your x into two different variables. So if we have, for example, let's say that we have x cubed to the 6th power, or what you're going to do is you're going to rewrite it as like x cubed, and then you're going to put the 6 outside. Well, you know that this kind of tells you, this little parentheses in between kind of tells you that that you have x. Basically, it's telling you that you multiply these two. Sorry, I had to sneeze. So you multiply these two and you get x to the 18th, okay? So that's the other property. And you use it also in when you're simplifying algebraic expressions with exponent properties. This one is kind of similar. You're going to be just distributing your x in. So we have, this is because if we have a to the 1, b to the 1, all to the x, well, I'm going to be distributing this. You get a to the x, b to the x. So that's like if I said 2 times 3 cubed, well, that's equal to 2 cubed times 3 cubed, okay? And I'm going to just color code it just to like make it simpler for you guys. So, oops. And then cubed over here. So that's saying that this is 2, it's 2 cubed times 3 cubed. Okay, sorry. This is blue, not orange. Okay, so that's basically what this is saying. And so if we simplify this, we have 8 times 27, and if we do it on our calculator, we get 216. Okay, so that's what this is saying. This is the other one. I don't know what to name this one. I'm just going to name them both power properties, power of a power. And then this one here, well, this one just says that if we have a negative exponent, or I'll tell you in a second why it cannot equal 0. Okay, so basically what I'm saying here, if it has any number here that is not 0, so like if it has -1, -2, -3, -4, or and is not less than 0. And is greater than 0, excuse me. So as long as it's not like, as long as it's greater than 0, so if I have, for example, 2 to the -3 power, that's going to be 1 over 2 cubed, which is 1/8, okay? If I have, I don't know, 4 to the, for example, 4 to the -2, it's going to be equal to 1 over 4 squared. Okay, so what you're doing is you're putting this in the denominator and then turning it positive, okay? It's the reciprocal, remember. So basically, they're reciprocals. And if you don't know what a reciprocal is if, so for example, reciprocal is if we have A over B, the reciprocal will be b over a, okay? So this one just says that it's 1 over 4 squared, so it's 1 over 16. It's the same thing that I did over here. And then we have this this property here. If we have a to the 0, so anything to the 0 power is equal to 1. Remember that. If we have, let's say we have x to the x cubed y squared z to the negative 3 over x to the 6 y to the 5th z to z squared to the 0, don't even do all of this because it's going to be equal to 1. Okay, that's what you have to remember for that one. Anything to the 0 power is 1. And then we have this one here. We have a over b to the n, a over b all to the n equals a to the n over b to the n. So that means that if we have, for example, 2/3 cubed, that's going to be 2 cubed over 3 cubed, okay? It's going to be 8 over 9, or over 27, excuse me. And this is just the same thing with negative n. If we have it to the negative power, we're going to flip it over, okay? Just like we did up here when we did negative exponents, we're going to do the same exact thing, but with a fraction. So this is what I kind of did over here. If I have 2/3 to the negative 1, I flip it over, I flip the fraction over, so flip over, and then I put turn positive, okay? And I'll color code it if you guys really want me to. So this is A, and then this is B, and then this will be negative n, and then I can do, so that's equal to B over A to the n. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, so now that we've learned how to do that, we can go ahead